Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Apurv Malik, and I welcome you all here in this webinar session being conducted by TNV Academy as the host of the day. It gives me immense pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today's webinar, Mr. Ajay Bajpai. In this webinar today, Mr. Ajay Bajpai will discuss about OHSMS policy, which can be achieved by smart objectives and is covered under clause 5.2 of ISO 45001 standard. Mr. Ajay Bajpai has audited several organizations for various management system standards and has helped several others for their implementation. Our distinguished speaker, Mr. Ajay Bajpai, has done his bachelor's in engineering in metallurgy stream. He is also a lead auditor in ISO 9001, 14001, 45001, 37001, 22000, 27001, 13485, 22301, and 50001 standards, respectively. He has an industrial experience of around 15 plus years as implementer of management system standards and around 32 plus years in auditing and certification. He has been imparting training to a number of organizations, entrepreneurs, and individuals on various topics related to ISO terminologies and their certification and implementation. It was just a brief introduction of our guest speaker today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Ajay Bajpai. I may request Mr. Ajay Bajpai now to please take over and start the session.
Thank you, Apurv, and a few of the team members whose name I could, remember: Anil, Surya, and Rishabh, for the discussion on to the achievement of safety policy, clause 5.2. You see, today we will be discussing a total practical situations of how occupational health safety policy can be achieved by smart objectives. We have been discussing these chapters separately earlier and into other webinars also. Policy has been discussed separately, objectives have been discussed separately, and brief interrelation has also been discussed. But how to implement it practically into the organizations, which covers the industry, the service organizations, and all across the globe, whosoever is interested into making their organization safe, to see that the health, the illness, the injuries are controlled and reduced and are analyzed. So all this can be done when we have smart objectives understood conceptually and practically. We are able to plan and implement into the organization. Okay, so we will be discussing the requirement of the clauses also, because any discussion without clauses is not much of interest to many of us, to trainers, auditors, and ISO community. So we will be going in line with the clause requirement, but yes, implementation discussions practically. So it has to be consistent with the policy. The smart objective is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, target oriented or tangible or whatever we say, so that we can follow the safety policy intent and implementation. Okay, and the theme is illness and injury needs to be controlled, reduced, known, and understood. These are few terminologies which we'll be discussing throughout the discussion today. Okay, and it should be measurable if practicable. Many times the things cannot be measured. Sometimes there's a situation where we are not able to measure it. Maybe because we don't have data immediately. Maybe we don't have parameters to make sometimes the measurement. There are situations sometimes, very typical situations are there sometimes into the medical industry, into the the, say for example, the satellite communication industry. For example, we are going to to various the sky, the moon, the Venus, the Mars. Occupational health is all important, but sometimes we cannot measure the thing today. The measurement will be possible after couple of years, couple of decades, maybe. But all is to support the what? Performance evaluation and support the policy. The safety policy support is to be seen with the help of objectives, practically implementable objectives into the organization. Also, when we are talking of this subject, the policy and support from the objectives is very, very clear. You see, if we look at uh, policy as the heart, HART, heart in our body, then objectives I will treat as the blood of our body, because the heart is there to see that yes, body can function, but how the body will function throughout the flow of the blood into all parts of our body, that is what will show how the body will improve upon its functioning. So this is what is the interrelation, I thought, practically, and objectives, wherever we find the weaknesses, they will have a direct impact onto the policy. Because into auditing, many times we see that the focus is there on to policy and objectives, but it is with respect to the certification angle. Yes, that our organization, we are the implementation, we are the manufacturers of some medical devices, manufacturing, and we are going for 45,001 certification into our organization. Maybe we are having 13485 also together. So what happened in this situation? The focus is diverted to 13485 requirements. Because my organization, I am manufacturing the IV cannula or blood bags, so I am going for certification of 13485 and 45,001. So what happens? My focus point, my policy, my objectives, everything is designed with datum or baseline as medical requirement, medical device requirement, and so on. So the requirement of health, safety, illness, injuries with respect to safety and objectives are lost somewhere, or the gravity is lost. Similar situation we see today. Most of the organizations are going for IMS certification. So if they are going for quality and OSAR certification together, see what happens again, we see that the objectives and policies are lost into the quality policy and quality objectives, because their prime aim was to get 9001 certification. So initially they have gone for 9001 certification in a situation where everything boils down to the quality requirement into policy and objectives. So when we are trying to now, after a couple of months or a couple of years, want to implement health and safety into our organization, then the theme is lost. The main requirement, the main concerns of safety policy, safety objectives are lost into the quality requirement. We are not able to integrate it appropriately. Or even if we go together, the integration for 9, 14 and 45, even if it is being done together, since the beginning of the implementation in a laptop manufacturing company, maybe, which we are a manufacturer, we have got a vast manufacturing units, we have got thousands of laborers into multinational organizations, and we are going for 9, 14, 45 certification. Again, our focus is on, maybe if we have got ISMS also into our company, our main focus is on to ISMS or maybe the quality. So again, the 45,000 safety requirement, the safety policy and objectives are lost somewhere in between. So when we go into the auditing, we have seen many times into third party auditing. Why I am discussing in detail? Because the address of policy with the support of objectives is the key for health and safety, illness and injury controls. That is the theme of the safety policy to achieve through support of objectives. So we have to see that yes, into auditing, we are able to objectively see the requirements of safety policy and support by objectives, not getting lost into other standards. We have seen into auditing, third party auditing, and we have to raise the non-conformities, observation, concerns at time that yes, you are also applying for IMS certification, which consists of 4 standards. So one of the auditors who was auditing 45,001 safety policy requirement and implementation through objectives have seen that it is not up to the mark, because it has been lost into the other standards requirement. So it is very typical and critical to understand, particularly in case of IMS certification, which most of the organizations are going on today. Also, we have to see that the policy has been derived out of what? From the management thought, from the vision and mission of the management, and considering the results and assessment of risk and opportunity exercise. When we are doing initial planning of, yes, our company has to go for a 45,001 certification, so we initially go for a what? Gap analysis. We try to understand what are the safety concerns, what are the safety situation, what are the health concerns, what are the illness and injury type into my organization today, and we start focusing from that, and policy statement goes like that, and then the objectives are broken down into many facets, many facets, many points, many agendas to see that yes, policy statement is supported by smart objectives. So this is the theme how we will practically implement it through objectives. Then we get into the consultation with workers and operators and anybody who is performing a work is called worker or operator to that extent. A manager is also an operator, a DGM is also an operator at times when he is performing a particular activity. So what is his policy? His policy needs to be supported by the smart objective to see that yes, if he is thinking that he as a manager, his work of getting a policy implemented into the stores area for properly handling of the heavy material is one of the policy key point coming from the top level, is supported by a smart handling method of loading unloading, which can be an objective, and keeping them into the respective places by seeing that yes, the loaders unloading team is keeping the material and themselves safe. Material is to be kept safe along with their own body parts being kept safe into the working area of the stores. So we have to see that we are able to involve the workers and we talk to them properly. It may be a manager, worker, or operator, or DGM at whatever level he is working. He is to support the safety policy with the support of a objective which is broken down to loading unloading method, which is a automatic loading or manual loading, whatever it is, heavy loading, heavy unloading, placement by using lift, forklift, or automatic lift, whatever it is that. So that needs to be broken down into that with the smart objective, and then see that yes, this operation of loading unloading is safe and no injury is observed. If it is observed, we may plans through further, you know, developing objective and further improving upon the objective, which as I said always is a draft in the beginning and further improved upon. Also, we need to see that monitoring and support policy on the ground level, at the grassroots level, we need to support the safety policy. When we are into a production situation, the machine is running, it is a grinding operation going on. So the safety policy indication is there to see that when a machine is operating, the operators, the nearby visitors, the travelers are kept safe against those chips or the grinding things coming out of it, the powders. So how objective will be working on to the ground level. So we need to take care that yes, we have the safeguard, we have got the belts under control, we have got the speed under control, we have got the speed under the tolerance level, we have got the windows closed, we have got the wheels change in time, we have got the operator trained to see that yes, he is running it by following the checklist of the grinding wheel operation to make it a safe operation. So the safety policy is broken down into the working of the grinding wheel by a trained operator who is involved here, who has been consulted here by another objective, and now he is being operating the grinding wheel or machining operation. And this needs to be communicated at the ground level. So supporting policy at the ground level will be via what? Objectives. Objective will be supporting the communication. There are situations into auditing which we have seen. Policies and objectives are communicated together at times, depending upon the situation and depending upon the policy component or objective component of that particular machine, that particular operation, that particular department. So together communication means they support each other. Sometimes policy is communicated separately, objectives are communicated separately, and also we have seen into auditing, they don't match, they don't lead the links to each other. So there are non-conformities and improvements of implementation by support of objective does not really take place. Also needs to be updated as we get the feedback on support with the help of smart objectives. We need to keep on updating the operation of the grinding wheel or loading unloading into the stores area. Earlier we had a manual operation of loading unloading. Today we have got a forklift. Tomorrow we will have a robotic forklift. So all these things needs to be updated appropriately with the support of objective, and implementation feedback comes. What are the problems into the implementation of the objectives by robotic down unloading condition? That should be observed through a smart objective and go further to support the policy, and this feedback is taken and we update it appropriately. So now our work instruction changes, our training ground with the support of objective to the operator with respect to the safety of the loading and unloading operation with robotic machines is brought under control and further improves. Okay. We need to consider a lot of activities now here. What all needs to be considered? Body parts related to operation. The theme which we always discuss into the occupational health and safety, that our employees, if they are coming into the organization with two hands, two legs, two eyes, two ears, one nose, correctly with the body parts moving, they need to go out in the same way without being distorted in any way. So how do we do that? We do it by smart policy first of all, then smart objectives, and also take care of any visitor who is coming with the same good healthy body parts into our organization and goes back with same healthy body parts into out of the organization. He may be a trainer, he may be a consultant, he may be a customer representative, he may be any other member of interested party. So we need to see that yes, he goes back out of the company in the same situation as he had entered. We also have the situations of medical checkups into the organization. So we seen into auditing that teams just define, yes, medical checkup is being done, medical checkup has been done, medical checkup had been planned. Into one of the third party requirement which has come for last couple of years, that we would like to involve the medical institutes, a representative of the doctor, representative of the medical checkup units also to be a part of the stage 2 audit when we are conducting the audit, because we want to see his involvement. We want to see that yes, the doctor was involved into the opening meeting when internal audit was being conducted, when closing meeting of the internal audit was being conducted, so that he also gets input. He knows under what circumstances the organization is working. If it is a simple organization, even manufacturing the specs or lenses, so what is the medical checkup focus by way of objectives? Eyes, the safety of eyes, the strength of eyes, the safeguard of eyes. If he is into a situation of a height working into a construction company, what is the medical checkup requirement? A person who is working on a height, do he have a height phobia? Can he ride the ladder? Can he still work on, the 24 meters of height with the safeguard of the belts and all? So all these will be checked into medical checkups, and the doctor should know what needs to be checked up. Where if it is a, you know, an organization which into training facility, what happens? What kind of medical checkups are required? Working on heights we have discussed, so these kind of things to be done. Loading, unloading. If it is a situation of loading and unloading of material, what medical checkups will be required? How the body parts will move, whether this fellow has the strength in his arms, whether this fellow, if it is a switch to be pressed by a use of a foot, or leg operation is required. Is the operator needs a leg and foot checking? Does he need a hand checking? Does he need a finger checking in case of a computer and software operations? So all these things are getting interlinked with body part operation, medical checkup, working on heights, loading and unloading of the operation. Repetitive works. A lot of works are there in automotive companies mainly, where repetition of work is going on. Same and same component is being manufactured every time. 1,000 pieces of silencer part will be welded today in first shift. 1,000 pieces of pistons will be cut into different pieces before the assembly, or after assembly before they are put into sub assembly. So the repetitive work, repetitive kind of motion of the body parts. So how do medical checkup, how do the operator will take of these things, and how related fatigue will be there. So all this is related to the health, the risk of injury to the worker, to the operator, to the visitors. So how we take care of that, that is very, very important with the help of smart objectives. Also, we see into recent times, into the latest condition which is going on, the mental health and pressures. I just took an example of a training organization. If we are into a training situation, how they cope up. They have to undergo or conduct the training day in, day out. They have to prepare their documentation. A lot of mental pressure is there, mental health requirements are there. How do we take care of that? So the medical checkup, their job allotment, the selection of time, this will cause a lot of impact on their health. So these are also becoming a part of the health and safety requirement and the smart objectives for the implementation of the safety policy. Teamwork. Teamwork looks very simple, and somebody may say, what it has to do with the health of a individual? When we are working into an organization, for example, we talk of a training organization. One particular person is supposed to drop the ISMS policy. He is going to a company who has to provide the training to an organization who is implementing ISMS. So drafting of the documentation is done by a particular team. The other team member is going to implement or deliver the training, into the organization. This organization, training organization as such, is going for health and safety requirement, health and safety certification, maybe, or they are implementing only. So if the teamwork is weak, the documents are not provided in time, there is effect on mental health. There are pressures which will make this person become ill or sick, and he will not be able to perform his job in time. He will unnecessarily get the pressure. So any pressure, anything which because of the teamwork or not having a good teamwork culture will make a person become sick, sometimes physically sick, sometimes mentally sick, sometimes moving forward, sometimes coming back because documents are not available to him. It has not been shared into its folder. If it is a software implementation into the company along with health and safety requirements. So these are the things which will make impact if objectives are not smart, because the policy has been documented. But all these things are a part of the objectives which should be smart enough to see that safety policy is implemented by utilization of effective documentation, and so on. So smart objectives help in achieving the safety policy into the organization, and our ill health and injuries are controlled physically, mentally, or medically by various checkups and various applications. In case of inspection organization who go for OH&S certification, they have a lot of requirements of having healthy inspectors, healthy operators, healthy NDT operators who are going to check, maybe for example they are going for X-ray checking of some metal parts or casting into the organization. So an operator, if he is not trained enough, if he does not know the implication of the X-ray, the effect and the impacts, he will get himself affected, and impact will also be onto the surrounding organizations employees who are also getting have the impact of the X-ray when the X-ray is being conducted on the the metal part, the casting, the welding joints and all. So all these are equally important and they are achieved through smart objectives. Go further. So we talk of now the achievements, how we achieve with the smart objectives. We have been discussing it in between, but yes, they are achieved further. What will be done? What action will be done by objective? What resource is required to achieve the safety policy by a smart objective? Who will approve that? Sometimes the approval becomes a problem and the entire team suffers with respect to the safety of the and the safety policy is not implemented because the objectives of resource requirement is not been achieved. It is pending into the approvals. Who will be responsible? Approvals and accountability with respect to and with the support of smart objectives. When it will be completed, as T of smart, the tracking is not being done by a effective objective. So we do not know when it will be completed, when the new belt guard will be coming, when the conditions of working on a height in a particular, foundry situations or in a particular loading and unloading condition with the help of a crane will be made safe because there is no tracking. We do not know when it is going to be completed. So the team is into a problem and the policy is not being implemented. Then it is the objectives which will be bringing down and tracking the results, the evaluation, the indicators. The policy is there, but objectives are getting the monitoring, the indication, the evaluation is all being done with the help of them. Then the actions of objectives to integrate into the business processes. We always have to see, we have discussed earlier also that yes, business process. Our business process is there to see that we have got a lot of visitors coming from customers today. So if we cannot demonstrate with the help of a good OH&S objective to see that visitors are taken care of with respect to the safety requirement while they are entering into the company, while they are traveling into the company, then we may have a loss of the business because the business team of the customers or maybe statutory regulatory requirement who have come for the approvals of a particular parts or particular process which we have added, and that is making a direct impact onto the health and risk related thing. It is going to cause injury and non-wellness maybe. So business process is getting affected. So we need to see the link of the policy with the objective here so that our business is ongoing. Customer visitors are happy, they are satisfied. When they go back from our hotel industry, they can say that yes, our visitors can stay in this hotel. Further, we'll promote our other units team also to stay in this hotel because this hotel health and safety objective is taking care of us all the time, round the clock, 24 hours, when we are into entering, when we are exit, when we are taking a cab or car, when we are going through the safety checks, all is being taken care by a good smart objective. And then documentation, of course, documentation to meet the safety requirements. Safety policy is done by objectives because they are tracking the implementation of the policy into my hotel or my foundry or my laptop manufacturing unit. Whatever requirements are there, they are being tracked and documentation is being updated adequately. So we go further. These are the results. We keep on seeing these results. Smart language meets the needs of interested parties, and we need the business process as we discussed, and objectives are met with the global requirements, with the customer requirement, and we discussed language meaningful and logical. Objectives we have seen into the organization, they sometimes talk things which are practically impossible, so we say it is a illogical objective. You cannot meet this condition. Today you are at 80%. 1 month you say you will reach, the 99% of accidental control situation by object. So that's not correct. This should be meaningful. We half the way we talk of a accident, in between of the objective we talk of talking of investigation, or in between we talk of talking about customer visit. We have seen this kind of objectives when we have raised non-conformity. So whether done by themselves or with the help of a trainer or consultant, the documentation needs to be studied by the company themselves to see that their objectives are smart and language is correct, so that they can adequately conduct the internal audit, results are good, and third party audits are also done in a meaningful way and get the results. So also meeting the vision and direction of the top management by having effective policy implementation with the support of smart objective. This all will be met when we are going to support the words, the meanings, the language of the speed of the grinding wheel, or speed of a car, safety of the car, safety of the operator, safety of the loading and unloading person, with the help of a top management thought, with the support of a good safety policy and a practical, logical objective to support all this. So all these actions need to be related with the business processes of the organization. We need to see that our business is running through support of the uh, operator, support of the interested party, support of the safe suppliers, safe subcontractor, safe visitors, then only it all goes on. All right. So now we have done all the plannings, and the implementation is going on by way of training to the grassroots level of the objectives. Objectives are also displayed physically and onto the website as per the status and requirement and the planning of the organization, which differs from organization to organization. Whatever they find as the most effective way, which after drafting they can check through their reviews, and they find out by way of implementation of various softwares, yes, this planning is effective, and also it is interested parties are communicated, so they know when their material is going to be reaching the organization, what is the objective of the organization, what is the smart objective of the supplier to meet those requirements of the organization. And when we are a manufacturer, when we are a manufacturer, car manufacturer, our customers, our dealer distributor have a requirement of a safe and secure, delivery of the cars to their service station or to their marketing setups. They are met with and they are communicated, so that we all are to the same wavelength and we are smartly meeting the requirements. Going further, action plan and implementation. So effective and smart objective will lead to effective policy, safety policy implementation. And we are monitoring our objective plans and processes as per the reviews to be done weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, whatever, when we are certified, even 6 monthly, whatever is the planning, we keep on monitoring our objectives, which are integrated into various processes to reduce the illnesses, injuries and control accidents and near misses and so on. Then we do the analysis of our planning and we are updating the objective implementation chart which is smart, which is smartly implemented, documented, and then we go on for improvement into that. So this we have discussed in the beginning also. Yes, we have to run this. Now the smart objectives are documented and they are at various functions, we are at various organizational level. So we are running our system after documentation and we see that effectiveness of objectives is enhanced and so effectiveness of policy is also enhanced because we have used smart objectives, we have done an analysis and we are having a good tracking method and we are updating the data in objective planning chart. We keep on updating the loading and unloading objective. We keep on updating the, the crane operations, safe running charts. We keep on updating the grinding wheel, safety control charts, and we see that yes, what was the accident level earlier, what was the risk level earlier, and we keep on integrating it with other clauses to see that yes, objectives are smart and policy requirements are being met. It all happens with the support of accurate and precise calculation. A smart objective needs smart and precise and accurate calculations. Go by accurate calculation and find out what is the level of accident, what is the level of near risk, what is the level of loading and unloading risks, 80%, 90%, what is the calculation, 95.2%. In unit 2, it is 83%, unit 4, it is 89% in the beginning of the implementation of documentation. So we further try to improve the smartness of the objective. Once documented, not forever. We need to see that yes, the smartness is being increased day by day, surveillance by surveillance, recertification by recertification, and so on. And we involve all, particularly operator workers at respective levels with the help of an objective. So because they are the ones who are implementing that into the system, they are the ones who are knowing how loading and unloading has been improved upon, how crane operation has improved, the risk levels, how it has become more safe, how the safety policy intent of the overall automation by utilization of the automated robotic system of the material handling into the stores or into the assembly shop. So we need to involve them and see that yes, we are tracking it with smart objectives. So we go further and we come to analytical mode now. When we have documented, we have implemented, the drafting is going on and so on. And smart objective charts are further discussed into the small groups and cross-functional team by utilizing the document data and accurate calculation. And we get the data analysis done from here. And supporting objectives are there for policy. The supporting smart objectives had given generation of lot of data by fact and figures analysis, by calculations which we have done, smart and accurate calculation. So we understand the field of the status of the implementation now, and then we conduct effective internal audit of smart objective implementation by a trained team of auditors who knows these things by concept. They have a checklist which tells them how tracking needs to be done, how a smart objective needs to be done, how a smart objectives can be further improved, how effectiveness can be further seen. So a data of this is generated by NC objectives charts. And then we further go to what? We go to management review meeting and then we verify this OH&S objectives, how they have helped into the implementation and meeting the requirement of our safety policy. and then we further make the plans, we further give responsibility, we further go into the tracking and see that yes, what improvement can be further brought into reducing the illness, control on working on heights, loading and unloading efficiency, increasing you know near miss reduction, and how again going back into the data by smart objectives, and again the smart objective is further tracked, it is implemented, it is monitored, and we plan further actions. Once we are able to do this, then naturally the improvement are seen into the implementation of the safety policy, OH&S policy, by utilization of smart objectives, implementation of the monitoring and tracking being done. Once we are able to do that, now the rounds of internal audit has been done and we get confidence by internal audit management review meeting, and we now think of planning into certification. So now the stage one stage audit planning situation starts and we go to certification situation. So we have got certification bodies who are here. We can study our websites and can find out what more can be learned and how the certification process is going to support them with the help of effective safety policy, effective safety objectives, because they are the ones who will lead us with the help of integration of risk and opportunity further to see that yes, we are nearing and coming as close as to our certification plan. So this is what we thought we will discuss today. We have the policy, but this policy needs to be practically implemented into the organization. It needs to get into the blood and veins of the organization, of the operator, worker, managers, the top management who has been key into the formulation, but they don't need to forget it. They need to be reviewing it into internal auditing and management review system, which we discussed. And it goes on with the support of workers, operators, managers, consultant discussion with the support of smart objectives onto the ground level. And we get the feedback, because once the objectives are smart, then the feedback comes from various levels, various interested parties. And then the key, as we discussed, is support of the understanding of yes, we have got body parts, we need to be healthy when we are working into an organization, or when we are working into another organization, entering into another organization. What is the importance of medical checkup, working on our heights, loading and unloading, repetitive work, fatigue related things, mental health and pressure, teamwork, the organization culture. They all, some of them directly, some of them indirectly, see that our safety is intact by way of smart objectives. And then we are further going on and implementing them. Who will be doing it into objective, who will be conducting it, how it will be tracking with a smart objective, and documentation of that is to be retained, so that further improvement into a smart objective to support safety policy is achieved. Team is trained, concepts should be clear, that how to support the policy with the help of a smart objective. This concept should be trained throughout the organization, and we want to train the ISO community as a whole by conducting this kind of webinar, so that they all understand how this health and safety thing, the safety policy and achievement of policy, can bring overall development into the organization and world culture globally, and how SDG, Sustainable Development Goals of safety of the entire the globe, can be brought into a situation by meaningful and logical and smart language of the policy and objectives. We should not be lost into debating into internal audit. Oh, what is this language? Oh, I don't understand. Third party audits also, we have seen, we get into a lot of problems into this particular thing not being under control. Language can be a problem when we conduct audit into a different country, but we understand by use of a translator and so on. Effective good translator, a smart translator who has been selected by utilizing of a good smart objective. We have got a process of selection of a translator when we go for a audit of a organization into different countries, online or offline, whatever may be the situation. So the selection of a translator itself should be done smartly. We have been doing it, and so we want the entire community to focus on this and then do it. Implementation, documentation, softwares are there for all this. A lot of organizations are selling and marketing softwares for the implementation of health and safety policy and objectives. But as an organization, we have to be smart and see that what is of use should be put into application and implementation and not just use them. Into auditing, we have seen many organizations have used software, but they have not met the intent of the safety policy and smart objectives. So they got into problems of follow-up audits, maybe at times, maybe end-season observation, visits, and so on. Certification were put on hold. So many situations come because of the wrong implementation. So we need to be careful. Action plan and implementation, analysis, correct calculations, objectively looking at the smart objectives. So all this needs to be taken care of. Analysis needs to be done all the time when we are into the smart objectives discussions and tracking. Then further go on into implementation of the smart objectives. Formulation is one thing, implementation is another thing, review is an enhancement of the effectiveness in another part. So there are different steps. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, which we have to objectively see with the help of smart objectives, and we keep on updating the chart all the time, all the time, all the time. We go to surveillance audits and we find sometimes charts are the same. So we need to raise non-conformity. We need to sometimes hold the certificate, say follow-up audits. What is this chart? We came here one year back. The chart was the same. Your machines have changed. Your machines technology have changed with respect to safety. Your design have changed with respect to the safety into the manufacturing, but still the chart remains the same. So how you will take care of the safety of the visitors, safety of the employees by saying a statement of safety policy which is not supported by a smart objective because the chart has not been updated with respect to a robotic operation of the loading and unloading of a machine, for example. Then calculate good correct calculation, correct calculation, use calculators, get into right calculation modes, understand the concept of percentage, extrapolation, interpolation, and do it correctly and involve all interested parties, statutory board, regulatory board, customers to the extent it is required and if it is applicable. Then we do the analysis of the entire implementation by small groups, cross-functional team, SPC, SQC. We have got the data because our smart objectives are there, which has made us generate data, and we are having the run chart, the P chart, the Pareto analysis has given the chart, the Six Sigma is being implemented depending upon what they want to do, what kind of techniques they want to implement, and then we conduct the effective internal audit of these smart objectives. Once documented, smart objectives are not forever. Things are changing, culture is changing. We are implementing a smart objective of India to a smart objective of Bangladesh. It may not suit. A smart objective document for the similar kind of a health and safety company implementation of machine assembly may not be suitable into Hong Kong unit of ours. So we need to see it through effective internal audit and see that yes, our smart objective remains smart even in Hong Kong, not only in Bangladesh. And then we conduct an effective management review meeting, OH&S review meeting of the smart objectives here and see that yes, this safety policy is being supported and being implemented with the help of a smart OH&S objective, and we make further targets and actions and ultimately go for improvement of safety policy with the support of a smart OH&S objectives, a practical approach. So this is what I thought I will discuss today. Now it is to the team. If they have any questions, they can ask now and they can ask further. Apur will explain you. Thank you.
If any of the participants has any questions, they can please ask now. Or in case if you do not have any questions as of now, this particular video will be uploaded on our YouTube channel and is available absolutely free for your views. You can watch this particular video as many times as you want. And in case then you have any questions on the subject which was discussed today by Mr. Ajay Bajpai, you can always put in your questions in the comment section of the video, and we will be transferring those questions to Mr. Ajay Bajpai, and he will be really happy answering them. So I would now come to the conclusion of this particular session. I would say that we all understood OHSMS policy in somehow detailed manner or in a brief way earlier when we have read the OHSMS standard. But the way Mr. Bajpai explained that how OHSMS policies principles can be implemented within an organization by drafting and forming smart objectives and implementing them within the organization was absolutely beneficial for us to understand OHSMS policy in a better way. I also say that we have been benefited by the context of the subject which was discussed today, and it will definitely add value to our expertise and domain of work. I thank Mr. Ajay Bajpai for giving his valuable time and effort for conducting this particular webinar, which was very fruitful for us. I thank all the participants as well for taking out their valuable time and attending this particular webinar. We will be conducting all these webinars in future as well on other topics, and I really hope that we all again meet soon in an exciting new topic. Thank you for your participation. Thank you so much.